It was January 1st, 2026. My phone buzzed for the 43rd time before noon. But I didn't even look at it. Instead, I powered it off. That single, quiet click felt louder than any notification I'd ever received. I wasn't running away from technology, I was just exhausted by it. My days had become a blur of screens stacked on screens. My laptop for work, my phone for breaks, and a tablet for relaxing, which really just meant endless scrolling masquerading as rest. I realized I couldn't remember the last time I was truly bored, or even truly present, so I made a reckless promise to myself: 1 full year of intentional digital detox. This wasn't about total abandonment, but a deliberate shift toward analog hobbies. I had no idea that these small, old-fashioned choices were about to quietly rebuild my entire life. The first thing I bought wasn't anything fancy, just a thick, cream-colored notebook and a pen that felt good in my hand. At first, writing was painful. My thoughts stumbled and felt awkward. I'd grown so used to autocorrect fixing my words and apps organizing my ideas for me. But after a few weeks, something strange started to happen. My thinking actually slowed down. But in a good way. I began journaling every single morning, not for productivity, and definitely not for social media. It was just for me. That notebook became a safe space where my unfinished thoughts were allowed to exist without judgment. I started noticing patterns in my emotions, dreams I'd buried long ago, and questions I'd been too distracted to even ask myself. For the first time in years, I wasn't just reacting to everything, I was reflecting. In March, I found an old acoustic guitar at a thrift store. It had a cracked edge and a slightly warped neck. It was perfect. I made a rule: no YouTube tutorials, no apps, just a printed chord chart and my own ears. Progress was incredibly slow and often frustrating. My fingers hurt, my timing was terrible, but every single small improvement felt earned. I wasn't optimizing my learning, I was practicing patience. By the time summer arrived, music had become a ritual. Every evening, I'd play as the sun went down. My neighbors would pass by and wave. Birds would fill the gaps between my clumsy chords. It was a powerful reminder that creation doesn't need an audience to be meaningful. Without food delivery apps, I had to start planning meals again. I learned to cook from my grandmother's handwritten recipes and old, stained cookbooks. The simple act of chopping vegetables became grounding. Waiting for dough to rise taught me that not everything in life can be rushed. Cooking reconnected me with my senses: the smell, the texture, the heat, the taste. I stopped multitasking while eating. Meals became slower, richer, and were shared more often with friends. Conversations replaced scrolling. I realized I wasn't just feeding myself, I was finally taking care of myself. Every afternoon, I started taking long walks with no headphones. At first, my mind screamed for stimulation. It begged for a podcast, for music, for something to fill the silence. But then, it softened. I started to notice the seasons changing in real time. I recognized my neighbors and their dogs. I learned the simple rhythm of my own footsteps. Ideas surfaced naturally, without any effort. Problems that seemed huge began to untangle themselves quietly in the back of my mind. Those walks taught me something powerful. Clarity comes from space, not from constant noise. By December 2026, I hadn't quit technology, but it no longer owned me. I was sleeping better. I was listening more deeply to people. I felt more connected to myself and to the world around me. My attention span had healed. My creativity returned, not in frantic bursts, but as a steady, reliable current. These analog hobbies didn't necessarily make my life simpler. They made it truer. The biggest surprise wasn't how much I gave up, it was how much I gained. I learned that a meaningful life doesn't come from constant input. It grows in the quiet moments where your hands are busy and your mind is free. And sometimes, the most radical upgrade you can make isn't a new app, it's picking up something real. Thanks for watching.